Perhaps the Iron Throne down there is finally available for somebody to jump on other than Juanito. But of course, we'll have to figure out who's going to be going up against him. And we were talking about the implications, so let's get into it. It's this match. In the bottom right, we have the red Terran player representing Team Liquid. He is Kelazhur.
And spawning over in the northwest hand side, playing as the Blue Zerg, it is Cham. Oh, I'm a webcam watcher, right, Nate? And these there's this blurry webcam background that I know is it's fashionable, like it keeps your background hidden. But holy crap, I get like not seasick, because it's absolutely not that, but like motion sickness almost from this blur, so I'm gonna stop looking. Oh
yeah, it's like one of those cool things that technology can kind of do, where at first you needed to have a camera that had like this like multi-focus thing, whatever, to kind of get that good like bokeh effect, usually on like a DSLR. Then graphics cards, like now you have like the AI powered stuff where you can have it clean up your microphone and do your background stuff for you. But I'd say it's like, we're still in like that first generation-ish of that technology. But in another month or two, I think everybody, or another year or two, maybe, everybody will be able to have beautiful mountain landscapes behind them, just like me, without even needing to have a green screen or possibly even a camera. Go figure how that one works out. You know what, Ben? I think my favorite thing about this particular match, though, is that Cham and Kelazhur are both pretty cheeky at times. Like, you can't really assume that either one won't do a really aggressive 1.5 or like even proxy rack sort of thing. But both of them are also pretty good at those late games, and we've seen them play that out. So I think that just sets us up for what has to be a really dynamic series that should hopefully go the distance.
Oh yeah, totally. And Cham comes from an era, like, for those that don't know Cham super damn well, he used to be damn good quite a few years ago, around the era that Broodlord Infestor was very solid. But he would play like Roach Ravager, Infestor into Broodlord against Terran. Like, that was his bread and butter, and he was so damn good at it. Then he had to kind of like mix it up a little bit, and he wasn't quite as strong, because for a while it was so damn hard to beat him. I'm very curious what he starts bringing out, because I've seen him still bring back those kind of builds from a long time ago, which always makes him a bit tricky, because we've seen that a lot of players, when they, like Terran players, when they get going, sometimes they'll skip tanks entirely and go straight into Widowmine. It's very greedy. He's like, well, I'm already making roaches. I'm just going to all in you and kill you. So it always makes a player like him a little bit scary to go up against.
Yeah, I have to agree, especially like when you're playing on the ladder. You're like, well, can I skip the tank? Can I get away with it? Because it's hard to push with the tank super early in TVZ. You want to have units to support it, like Stim or Blue Flame Hellions or something, whatever it is that you're going to go for.
Roaches.
But that Roach Horn, Cham is not somebody who shies away from these types of builds. And it is also worth pointing out that he's got 100 gas and he hasn't started Zergling speed. So I think we're getting a pretty clear indicator of where he wants to go. I think we could probably both say, Ben, that maybe don't just go pure Roach, which makes me feel like it has to be for a big attack that he wants to do down the line.
I mean, the fact that he's not getting speed at all kind of makes me go like, this is probably one of the... It's weird, because is he just going to send like 9 roaches down the middle of the map and just hope for damage? Which, by the looks of what Kelazhur has, it probably would do damage,
Yeah, but at the same time, it's also like you kind of expect him to at least get a lair and do like a roach speed timing or like a +1 roach speed timing. But instead, it's just like, yeah, I'm just going to build roaches and take a base. And he doesn't really have anything as these Hellions come through. The first 6 roaches are about to finish, but this is an absolutely monstrous amount of damage. Let's not forget, Kelazhur already has 3 orbital commands. He's played this as greedily as possible. 4 Hellions just running into the natural and killing 11 drones. That's not something that really happens anymore. And he knows there's roaches now, but he still sees that there's no link speed. The lair starts now. But he'll be able to get this Liberator out. He'll be able to finish this bunker, and he's got a couple of SCVs already prepared to deal with this and repair. So, yeah, even a second bunker coming up. He's not going to take this lightly at all.
I like that he's respected it. We do know that Cham isn't fully committing to this, but Kelazhur doesn't know that for sure. He's now kind of getting the idea that, oh, okay, even sending a random SCV out on the map kind of thing. But yeah, but so far, Cham went for kind of a greedy build, in which he skipped the link speed, wanted to defend with those roaches by the looks of it, but yeah, caught off guard massively by the 4 Hellions and the Reaper by Kelazhur. So you could definitely say that Kelazhur's eked out a little bit of a lead here.
Yeah, definitely a nice spot to be in. I mean, he's getting Overlords too. His Viking opener is doing tremendous damage. The Hellions are going back in, and there's still nothing to block them. So another 3 drones are going to get fried. Up to 4 now as he makes his way into the main. Let's not forget the Viking's still doing damage, but that Liberator was probably going to be coming over this way too. To 9. Well, it doesn't really get much worse than this.
My goodness, that is so, like, look at the work count. We're at 35 to 55, and yeah, this is as terrible as it gets for Cham. Like, there is a reason, like, ZVT is a matchup where you can't really catch your opponent super off guard. You can do like these weird cool first builds, you know, do a roach attack and stuff, and kind of hope for the best. But it really is a matchup of like mechanics and who's better and who's finer and cleaner and all that. But there is a reason why the standard builds are the standard, because those are the ones that give you the best chance of winning. And here, Cham doing his own thing, but it's not paid off at all. And even here, 0 reaction.
Yeah, more drones going to get picked off by the Liberator. 3 here is, that's a really good pick. He's going to get the 4th one and then retreat. But the other side of this coin too is that he doesn't actually have a tremendous number of queens. A lot of them are at the front towards that 3rd base. So even the 1 couldn't really get it done against the Liberator. We could see that return, but Kelazhur is, he's just gone. He's like, okay, I'm pretty easily safe to just go straight up to mega macro mode. Gets the armory. He's got a 4th command center building at the 7-minute mark. So yeah, I don't know. He's really setting himself up to just probably go kill him once he has stim and a couple medevacs. Can Cham really afford to make a lot to defend himself is now my concern.
I mean, even if he does, he's going to be stuck on Roach Ravager without any of the super things after it. And like, even if you're planning on like a timing attack with Roach Ravager, like your opponent is going to be more than ready. And this also isn't a map where those Roach Ravager timings are really good, because you have that pocket base in the back. So Kelazhur, he's got 3 bases set up. It looks like this CC positioning at the front wants to take a more forward base. Like, that's how good he's feeling. It doesn't need to be there. Yeah, Kelazhur's he's looking really strong.
Yeah, he's just going to stem forward, picks off a Ravager immediately, recognizes, okay, well, there's enough roaches here that my 2 medevacs worth of Marines not going to be able to push through it without a few more of the upgrades. He does have 1-1. Liberator's rolling back up on that southwest expansion. We're going to see more drones pop. And you're kind of mentioning this, Ben, a little bit slow on the reaction time here, having difficulty keeping up with the harass that's coming his way. And he's still attacking the rocks, as the Marines come down, get another Ravager and pull back. Kelazhur's just grabbing little win after little win.
Yeah, okay, I'm going to do silver lining mode. Oh my god, so much damage being done. 35 drones have gone down this game, but I'm looking at the supply and the drone count. I wouldn't have guessed that. That just shows how greedy Cham is and how good he is at actually whipping out drones. Because, yeah, these losses have been absolutely phenomenal. Look at the creep spread as well. It's actually very good. So Cham, at this point, it's like that episode of Simpsons where Homer just, like, goes boxing, just keeps on taking hits, but that's his strategy. And Cham, he's weathering the storm. He's taking up to Hive. Don't get me wrong, he's definitely behind, but there's a lot of other stuff that's making me hopeful for him later on in the series as well.
Yeah, his economy has been strong. He's kind of done like, oh, well, the Protoss comes in and picks up all my drones of Phoenix, and I'm just going to counter that by continuing to rebuild them. That's basically what's happened. The bio, one thing Kelazhur does love to do is overstim a little bit, so helps with the defensive side of things. I think maybe when his 2-2 comes in, he'll be feeling a little bit better, but for now, Cham has surprisingly managed to turn this into a pretty reasonable game. I thought that Kelazhur was going to start rolling hard off that momentum, but he just went so greedy behind it. And I still think this is crazy, like how fast he has the 4th base up there, now taking that 5th in the pocket. And I'm assuming that he'll just start his 6th command center immediately. Like he rolled up into this game with the intention of taking it to ghosts.
Yeah, basically. And he's sitting damn pretty, getting some queens in the middle of the map as well. 82 SCVs is absolutely where you want to be. And yeah, up to 5 bases now, very, very safely as well. It's got to be mentioned. What's the tank count out here? 9 tanks. I mean, he's even getting into a Widowmine tech here as well. He's going to be on 3 factories very soon. He's got Ghost Academy done. He's sitting so damn pretty.
Yeah, and with 82 SCVs, which is definitely a little overkill for this situation, I guess if he's trading out his Marines and constantly pushing, having that extra little bit of income spread out can definitely help with a little bit of just trying to drown your opponent in blood. But I think that based on everything, he's just kind of taking this slow. He's not going to go for that big move out. Maybe do you think he's respecting Cham a little bit too much? Because I'm almost kind of getting that vibe. Like he could have tried to do something with all the tanks and everything, and maybe a little earlier, but now he is finally moving out.
It was just line it up with the 2-2, wasn't he? I mean, the Vipers are out now. Like Cham is a cockroach, man. Like I don't know how he survived everything that went on, but it feels like it's only just started now for Kelazhur. He's sieging up, he's taking out the creep spread, and his army's freaking massive, man. That's a hard Terran army to deal with.
Now, all those siege tanks, I think the most important thing, too, is I don't know if he quite saw those Vipers, but he spread them out. So it will take quite a few blinding clouds to shut this down. I think there are still a couple points where he could hit several of them at once, but he's just going to catch a couple of the tanks on the outside. I think this is the best case scenario for Kelazhur. The Marines run into the blinding cloud. Maybe not the best case scenario there, but he got the hatchery. He's going to trade out against this army, and Kelazhur is absolutely bathing in money. Ghosts are coming out, Marines 3-3, still has a tremendous amount of wealth. I think he's starting up that base on the right side now, and this is looking good.
Yeah, it wasn't the cleanest by the Marines, was it? It was like it kind of went for a big hug on those banelings.
He ran into the blinding cloud, and then it was like, well, okay, we got to come out. So now we have melee range running into the banelings, and somehow it still doesn't really end up being all that big of a deal.
Nah, I mean, that just shows how ahead he was, man. Like, just absolutely smashed that army. Kelazhur came, he saw he conquered, and even now, like, Cham just cannot clean this up. He's got ultras coming out, but Kelazhur already has the counter to them on the field. You know, he's got the Marauders, he's got the Ghosts, he's still got quite a few tanks alive. And GG is full.
GG, Kelazhur, going for a bit of an old school beat down there. I think the most surprising part of that was he demonstrated an absurd amount of patience for somebody that was doing so much damage. Like, I expected him to just try and just go for a bit of a faster attack to end it, but just a really, really strong timing. He did it patiently. He checked off all the boxes. He kind of went in with the intention that I'm not going to throw this game no matter how much damage I do to you, and I'm going to do my move out at 2-2. And that was kind of like the predetermined, that's my strategy, that's where I'm headed, execute to perfection.
Yeah, it almost makes you wonder, like, what would that game have looked like if he didn't get 35 drone kills? Because, yeah, Cham was playing greedy, man. Like, not even getting link speed just to make sure that the Hellions don't deal damage and stuff. But, yeah, definitely a curious one. Stargazers will be the next map. I always think this is a pretty tricky one for Zerg when it comes down to it. Like, there's so much area in the middle where you can have really good tank positionings, and trying to get a flank can be a little bit tricky and what have you. And also, like, the safe 3-base setup for them. Just taking the minerals in the back kind of thing. But we'll see. If you're wondering why the Zerg can take that 3-base setup, but it's also like, that's a big, big window for getting drops done. Yeah, I think this is going to be a tricky one for Cham.
Yeah, definitely. Especially the way that first one went down. Just seeing that reaction time on the harass. We know Kelazhur is going to bring more of that. And I wonder if he turns up the heat here in game 2, feeling like, okay, you know, I definitely went 100% in that first map, but it felt a little bit, you know, felt like I probably could have ended this a little bit sooner. So let's see, because Cham, as you pointed out very well, he hung in there, and he was doing so well despite all the losses. He kept his economy up. He got his upgrades. He got his hive tech. He got the tech. And who knows, if he gets a couple, if those blinding clouds are positioned over a few tanks instead of just the 1 or 2 on the edge, maybe that fight turns out a little bit differently, because that Roach Ravager, that they really do struggle against the siege tanks specifically, but we'll just have to see as we are loaded in to Stargazers. In the top right, we have the Red Terran representing Team Liquid. He's Kelazhur.
And over here, spawning in the top left-hand side of Stargazers, that blue Zerg, it is Cham. What's also the next match after this, by the way? Do we get to watch Special versus Eric?
I think that might be on the docket. Let me check real quick for you. Partner. I think, Master Jim Rising, I think, is playing on the B stream. Let me see about the other one. I think Eric's Special is next. Yes.
That's
Maybe.
also kind of a cool one.
I'm very bad at reading schedules, so you shouldn't trust me completely on this, but I'm fairly confident that's the next series.
When I had the list of games in my head, it was like, all right. And then the next one is Kelazhur Cham. And then it was like, I don't know what's after, because very often it's like the winner's match and the deciders match, and we don't get to pick until it happens kind of thing, just to pick the exciting matchups and stuff. But yeah, so far, Kelazhur's impressed me. I thought he was going to play well. Oh, he's going for the back base straight away. Interesting.
Well, he just doesn't even want to have to think about being attacked from that natural area. And I wonder to some degree if he's going to mine that out and just like try to do a parade push from pocket base to pocket base, right? Like we're seeing some funky stuff like that. You know, there was almost a little bit of that memery in GSL and some TVT, building some production over on that side. But maybe he just is worried about being attacked early. Cham did open with roaches and he did try to attack him, but it all just kind of came a little bit too late from those Hellions, right?
Yeah, definitely will be cool. And yeah, just a different way of going about it. But I'm with you, because if he goes for that, already the game's a little bit weird, like a little bit unusual. And we have seen the kind of renaissance of a lot of these two-base all-ins from Terrans, like ever since Bunny and GSL against Reynar. Like he really kind of brought it back a little bit. But oh, that is a greedy boy. I love it.
Okay, never mind. I guess it didn't matter. If he had built the first command center on the low ground, he would have built the third one right there anyway on that pocket base. Maybe the reason why you do it in this order, if you were going to go for all three of these bases immediately, is just so if there's like pool first, the Lings can't run around the Reaper and like delay your natural.
Yeah, I think that's exactly it. I can't recall if he scouted with an SCV, but if he didn't, this would have been the greediest and safest way to do it. Because like if you scout with the SCV, obviously, oh, he's going for the Roach Warren again, man. He's and it's in the exact same way as well. 100 gas, doesn't use it.
And no Ling speed, and it's going to be a later layer too. He's not trying to time it for speed. He's not trying to time it for an upgrade. He's probably just going to do what he did last game, build like 6 or 7 roaches, maybe throw them across the map. I don't really know. I'm wondering if we're going to get the full repeat of last game and the Hellions will just roll in and microwave a bunch of drones. But for Cham's sake, I hope not.
It's looking like it could be almost the exact same thing, honestly. Like, I'm starting to get a little bit worried for Cham. Like, Cham obviously likes this build that he's doing here. Ooh, I like using the Hellions on the low ground.
Cheeky. Oh, that's one of the most fun things. A lot of people don't think about that when you jump that Reaper up and then they charge over. They're like, oh, we can get it. It's like, boom. Secret Hellions. They can't go up, but the flamethrowers can apparently shoot over a cliff.
All right, the Evo Chamber was in time this game, and the Roaches are out, so we will be able to start dealing with it. But that is still quite a few drones falling and having to run around. Most importantly, they got a little bit stuck there. And an SCV.
Is that the accidental rally SCV right there?
I think it is, but oh my god, he's getting all the way in.
Is he going to take Cham's pocket base? Is that what's happening?
I think, you know when you click the little idle SCV and you're like, oh, you're over there? Yeah, Kelazhur's looking at it now, and he's like...
I rally into my opponent's base constantly. You know, you're like trying to press all your buttons and do your macro while you're microing, and then the next thing you know, it's like all your command centers are rallied to where you're clicking, and you're like, yeah, I'm terrible at this game. But I don't know how one SCV gets there. He was just bored, I guess. He wanted to go on a little adventure. He's hanging out with the drones. He's just chilling.
Those drones have been there for a while, by the way. Like, quite a while. This is not the cleanest game I've ever seen. Okay. Cham does realize it. Kelazhur definitely thought there was a big attack coming, by the way. We see 2 bunkers at his front wall here. So this weird style of Cham definitely throwing him off a bit.
Yeah, it's like because he wants to go for the Hellions and do this harass and clear the creep. But at the same time, his opponent is opening roaches, so he's like, well, I don't want to like overextend this and then die to a counter. Here's the Liberator in the main one more time. Bit faster reaction there. Is not going to get the Queen, is not going to get any drones.
Already a much better start. Yeah, already a much better start for Cham.
I think at this point he had lost somewhere in the realm of 15 or so drones, and right now we're still at just about 4. The Hellions will come in for more, but he does have the roaches ready to deal with this too. Drones have been evading reasonably well. The Liberator comes back again, and this is where things are going to get a little bit more tricky. The hard part is the Roaches, they just don't have the ability to keep up with them. He doesn't have Roach speed. He hasn't started Roach speed. So even on creep, the Hellions are still able to run away from him. And now he's kind of like pocketing them in this weird way where he's like, yeah, I'm going to use my Liberator to kill your Roaches while you chase me. Kelazhur is just, I don't know. I feel like I'm watching like Terran breakdancing, freestyling or something. Like he's like, yeah, I'm going to have 2 Liberators and a Hellion and box a bunch of Roaches into the corner.
Cham plays the old school Zerg style where it's like, okay, I'm going to take damage, so I'm literally going to make more drones. And it's really what he goes for. Like, the Zerg style that Serral really kind of popularized was learning how to defend everything while having a lot of drones, but like getting the right amount of units in the right amount of places. Whereas Cham's just like taking the hits in the face. Like he's lost 20 drones this game again. Like it's pretty brutal. But the big thing is he almost goes into the game expecting to take damage, so he over drones as a response. Which it's one way to do it. By the way, look, he's at 115 out of 200 supply right now. That is quite a few overlords that he's already got.
Yeah, well, they open up that cap fast. They do like to do that, those Zergs, huh? And I think that you make an interesting point too. It's like a blob strategy. It's like, well, you can throw everything you've got at me. I'm just gonna take it, and then at some point, I will still continue and just roll up on you, get close enough, and that's it. All he has to do is get close enough to just wrap that blob form around him and just swallow him whole. Kelazhur is going to do his best to avoid having that happen to him. Like last game when those blinding clouds came in and he tried to crush the army, but he could not. And it looks like he's still going to probably try to do the same thing that he did the last map. We got the second factory coming in, 2-2. Viking does the jumping jack and dies, and now he's clearing out the creep.
I really like the emphasis for Kelazhur on getting +1 for tanks real fast against this kind of heavy roach style. A lot of people don't realize it, but if you get +1 on tanks, they end up 2-shotting roaches instead of 3, which is it's a massive deal for those tanks when it comes to defense. And here we have 12 Marines in production at a time already, so Kelazhur's already on 8 barracks, getting that second factory up and rolling as well. He's very committed to pumping out a lot of units very quickly.
He's got quite a few, and the Marines come into the pocket base of Cham. But this is where it gets a little bit awkward too, because you can get stretched thin on this map in particular. You have this huge space that leads into your main. That's kind of a bad spot to build static defense, but at the same time, it's just a medevac jump away from where he's trying to build that. He's building that base in the center, so multiple vulnerable targets. And I don't know if this is a mistake. I'm gonna ping question mark on this one, DeMuslim. He's got +2 attack for his bio, but instead of +2 armor, he's getting building armor. And,
might be a little bit of an error there. Might be a little bit of an error.
You know, I mean, do I think it matters? No. Is my curiosity slightly piqued? Yes. I do love building armor. It's a great upgrade, but I don't know if I love it that much.
No, I don't love it more than +2 bio. It's got to be said. It's
Sometimes
also quite damn expensive when you think about it. Like, what is it, 150 or something like that?
Yeah, it's 150.
So yeah, definitely a pricey upgrade to have. This army that he's got together though, like the +2 attack is a really big deal. So that's going to be finishing up. He's going to be against just +1 carapace as well for the time being. And he's accumulating all his forces here. And Cham is kind of split in 2 spots on the map right now because he's trying to deal with that little drop at the bottom as well. Oh, that Liberator's back.
Oh, and the return of the Liberator right at that moment where he's saying, okay, you're going to have to look over here and deal with this so I can take advantage with my tanks and push through this. And I like that. He leaves the tank siege on the other side of the bridge. He's already thinking about the retreat back across that choke point that would open things up as a medevac drop lands inside the main. Medevac itself will die, but the expansion is killed. Big drop on the right side. These Marines are tucked in very nicely against the minerals, so while they will eventually die, they're getting a lot of damage. That army walked. Was that the whole army that just went through that choke? Because it's dead. It's gone. In a flash, in the blink of an eye. Counterattack of roaches and lings. Banelings coming through. There are some Widow Mines dealing damage too. They are not being revealed after they shoot. This low ground base does not have much to defend it, but for Kelazhur, he has another bio reinforcement and the rest of his army coming home to clean this.
Kelazhur's a greedy boy, man. Like, this was his 4th base and he made it an orbital. He was just like, you know what? Let's just keep on going. Let's keep on being greedy. He now does resume upgrades. He's getting the +2 bio armor, the +3 bio weapons. He's on 200 supply again. Like, maybe Cham kind of did him a favor by killing a few SCVs, because yeah, he's maxed out on a really scary army, and yet again.
I think that's probably a good point. I mean, we were talking about he was at 82 while he was maxing on bio last game. Gold base finishes immediately, gonna get swatted down. Cham has units on either side of this army. He can try to sandwich it. I think that opportunity is very much real, but not a lot of anti-air if he tries to pick the Marines up into the medevacs. And I say that the Marines get picked up. The Marauders are going to take most of the Banelings. Now he unloads to clean it up again. And if he defeats this little mini army of Cham, I think with those biles, he won't be able to. He could deny that gold again, but since he was able to push this army away, Cham immediately retakes it. But look where we are, to Muslim. He's finally getting that +2 armor in. His +3 attack is coming through, and he's got 4 ghosts building at a time. What more do I need to say?
Those ghosts aren't even that necessary. They're really good against the Ravagers, but yeah, I guess they do very good at tanking up the Banelings and dealing damage to the Zerglings as well, so heck, why not? It's just a real show of dominance here from Kelazhur, and he's got control. He's got mad control here. Really good play out of him.
Yeah, probably worth mentioning. Yeah, ghosts are pretty much always good. Now, here's another interesting one. So instead of +3 armor, he's going to get missile turret range. I love it. This is the strangest order of upgrades I've ever seen taken. I don't think it matters at all, but
he cancelled it. He realized. So for a second there, I was like, this is just a hipster approach, isn't it, with engineering bay upgrades?
It's like a reverse caster curse there. I don't know what planetary range is going to do when you aren't building planetaries. So
that is true. Like, not a single turret, not a single planet. Or in fact, no, just have a planetary now.
Okay,
it's at the rally point.
He's got the high ground planetary. I like that, and he has 2 missile turrets in his pocket base. So
if Kelazhur knew how wounded Cham is at this point, I think he'd be way more aggro.
Yeah, he's playing this so, like, he's doing it so deliberately. Like, he just knows that the last thing he wants to have is to have to play like the game 3. The last thing he wants to do is just throw it away by underestimating his opponent, and I completely respect that. But